Hey, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah. Oh,
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this week in the news, it wasn't anything like super major going on. That whole thing with the shooting in Minnesota or whatever, uh, the guy was part of an uh, uh, anti-ICE group called the Signal or something, which is funded by the state's politicians. That's crazy. That's insane. But yeah, he's part of Antifa, whatever. Anyways, he was told not to go up there by his parents. Don't engage with ICE, but he did it anyway. He brought a gun, which he has every right to express his Second Amendment rights. No one's disputing that. However, when you're breaking the law and you're committing other crimes against the citizens and the police officers, or federal agents or whatever, he started crap and they put him down for it. Now, whether or not it was considered an execution or, they had a right to defend themselves or whatever, I don't believe they should be going up there and harassing and following him around and doxing him and that kind of shit. Leave him the fuck alone. If you want to yell and scream on the side of the road and protest, you have every right to do that. I don't believe most of the crap that they're not arresting children. They pull people over and they arrest the the parent driving the vehicle. What are they supposed to do? Let the 5 or 6-year-old in the back seat, just leave them there and then take off with the parent? Give me a break. You're fucking retarded. They're not arresting kids. They're taking them either with the parents to deport them with the parents, or they're taking them to social services or some shit. You're idiots. You're dumbasses. I also don't believe in this race crap where, they're pulling people over because they got dark skin. No, because they've literally shown that almost the majority of the ICE officers, federal officers, are black or Hispanic. They're not doing that shit. I don't believe that shit either. I've never seen anything on that happening. So, you can believe all that bullshit you want, but I don't believe anything the left says, because they're constantly busted for lying out their ass, just like the media. The media's pushing it and the Democrats are pushing it. The Democrats want a martyr. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get ICE to fucking just flat out kill somebody. That's why they're telling you have all these TikTokers who literally need to be put in an asylum going, you could just go ahead and kill ICE. You can kill a federal officer. There's nothing wrong with it. You won't get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. Are you fucking retarded? These people are fucking flat. We need to bring back the asylums, and we need to get these people out of our society. period. Okay, that's how I feel about the whole Minnesota thing. But there does need to be an investigation done with that guy. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying there's not bad cops, but I don't think the vast majority of ICE agents are bad. There may be one or two here and there, but the vast majority, 98% of them are not bad. I guarantee it. An update on the TikTok girl who filmed the guy sleeping with his pants down in his own home. The DoorDash girl. There's a guy that's been following the case. He's been going to the courts and shit. She got bumped up to a higher court, so she may be serving some serious time. The attorney, he said the attorneys told him that the least amount she could serve, I mean, bare minimum, is 2 years probation. So, and the max is 8 years in prison. So, we'll see. She probably won't get max. I mean, she's a woman. So, you know, women get special privileges. But hopefully she gets more than just 2 years probation. We'll see. I saw the whole thing where Candance Owens is in super big trouble. Apparently she had NDAs that she signed with TP USA, and she's broken all of them. So she's in big fucking trouble. She's not just going to get sued. She's in for some jail time. So, but she's batshit crazy anyway. I'm talking to aliens, blah, 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 blah. What the fuck? That bitch is loonier than fucking shit. But anyway, moving on. Apparently no one's happy with Sophie Turner playing Laura Croft. They don't like her as Laura Croft, which honestly she doesn't look like it. She doesn't look like the character. But I'm not a big Tomb Raider fan. I never was. Never cared for the game. I've never played them. Just wasn't my jam. The very first game that came out, I remember how wonky her movements were. Like, it was really hard to move her the way you wanted her to move. And I didn't like it. It sucked. I did not like the gameplay. Okay. And then last but not least, nobody likes the new Star Trek Academy show, which I don't blame them, like nobody. Alex Kurtzman, they need to get rid of him. He literally came out with a video stating it's all about political agenda and ideology and leftist woke nonsense. They're using it to do it. He literally came out and said it. So they need to get rid of him. They need to get back to the old Star Trek. Alright. Because none of the crap since the new movies by JJ, the Destroyer of Worlds, and him, Alex Kurtzman, it's not canon. It's not Star Trek, period. Okay. And then the last thing is that nobody likes the new He-Man trailer. They see all the woke nonsense in it. And I'm not talking about that stupid joke with his name tag on the desk. I'm talking about everything else. It doesn't look like a He-Man movie. Tila's not even wearing the correct outfit. They had to put her in pants, which she doesn't wear pants. They had to race swap Man-at-Arms. He's an old white guy. He's not black. This is an iconic character that everybody knows and loves, and you went and fucking race swap. You cannot do that to iconic or established characters. Same thing with historical characters. You can't race swap a historical figure. It's fucking retarded. Hollywood needs to stop this shit. But anyways, and Skeletor doesn't even look like Skeletor. I don't care if he looks cool or not. That's not fucking Skeletor. So, and then the guy who's playing the He-Man, I mean, he's okay to play as Adam. I think he makes a good looking Adam, but for fuck's sake, He-Man is like monstrously buff, you know, and he's scrawny. This dude's scrawny. He does not look like He-Man at all. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Nobody likes it. We'll see what it does when it comes out. So as I've said before, even if you don't watch the channel regularly, and you've only seen a couple videos, or you don't watch it at all, it only takes 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't affect you or your channel whatsoever. It just helps this channel grow. So please subscribe. Also, I have another channel. It's called Easy Does It. The link is in the About section. Check it out if you like gaming vlogs and reviews and reactions to other YouTube channels. Okay. Again, subscribe. Alright, let's talk about what I really want to talk to you about. I just watched a show called Q.E.D. There's only about 6 episodes. They only have one season. It was done in the 80s, and it's about this professor, which Q.E.D. is his initials. Stands for something, Professor Devlin or some shit like that. That's the D, Devlin. I can't remember what the Q.E.D. stands for. I'm not looking it up. But yeah, I just watched it here recently. Like I said, it only had 6 episodes, so it didn't take long. Basically, he's supposed to be like, I don't know, he lives in London. He's American, but he lives in London, in Britain. And the English professors are pissed at him. This is in the pilot episode. They're pissed at him because he's way smarter than them. He's a genius. Okay, he has a genius level IQ. Anyways, he basically tells them to piss off. He don't need their university and blah blah blah. So he goes off on his own. Now he's also a big inventor, which there was a lot of new inventions during the industrial age. So he's an inventor, and he invents stuff, and that's what he works on, is inventing stuff. But at the same time, he starts getting involved in like crime mysteries, like solving crimes. He doesn't do it on purpose. It just tends to fall in his lap. Now, there's a guy he hires that he seems to, I don't know, some English or Scottish dude who seems to be a jack of all trades. He knows how to fight. He knows certain weapons. He knows how to drive cars certain ways, and just odd things. He has a mixed match of talents. So he hires this guy right off the bat, but he doesn't know all this until later on. that this guy can do all kinds of stuff. But he's kind of like his butler or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a woman who shows up and just forces herself on him by telling him that she's going to be his secretary. It's in the pilot episode. He helps her out after she berates him, but he turns around and helps her out and solves her case. Her husband gets murdered or some shit, and he helps solve the case to help her out. And then she just, like I said, she forces herself on him and basically joins his crew. She becomes like his secretary or whatever. So in the six episodes, he's basically solving crimes. They introduce right off the bat like a villain that's like kin to him. It kind of reminds you of like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. You know, two geniuses going at it. This guy's a genius too, but he's always working for like, you know, some opposite communist group or something like that, you know. But he shows up in a couple of the episodes or whatever. He's supposed to be his arch villain, but whatever. There is one episode where it's a crime. I'm not going to tell you more than that if you ever decide to watch it. But he's supposed to go investigate a ghost. Like he goes to solve. He finds it fascinating, so he goes to try to prove that there's no such thing as ghosts. And you know, he basically does. You know, in the episode, you find out it's someone trying to convince people there's a ghost or whatever, a murderer. But anyways, it was an okay show. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't really like super great either. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. I think the show didn't get off running very well because it was set, you know, during the industrial age, and it just, and the main actor, nothing wrong with him acting. His acting was good. It's just the character seemed a little too much. He wasn't really funny. He was kind of an asshole. His character, and normally I like that kind of thing, the protagonist, the main character being kind of a guy who's kind of smarter than everybody, you know, and you know, he fucks with people and shit like. But in this, it wasn't like that. He was just a straight up flipping asshole in this, the way he did the character. So I think that had a lot to do with it too. Plus, it was set in London. I don't know. Like, if it would have been in the U.S., it probably would have been better and more well received. But I think the fact that it was set in London, in Britain, it didn't go over too well. Anyways, check it out if you want. It's a decent show. Like I said, it just wasn't the greatest. Okay, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. Okay, movie holics, this week is Action Week. with an couple old Rutger Hauer movies. Rutger Hauer is a great actor. He just, I don't know, he never quite made the A-list, of actors and movies. He did a few A-list movies with A-list actors, but he just never got to that tier of stardom. He mainly did a shit ton of B-rated movies. He was mainly a B-rated star. Anyways, the first one I watched was called Wanted Dead or Alive, and he co-starred with Mel Harris, and also Gene Simmons was the bad guy in this. If you don't know, Gene Simmons did a lot of 80s flicks. He is the lead guitarist for the band, really famous band known as Kiss. Maybe you've heard of them. But yeah, he did a lot of movies back in the 80s, B movies, but he acted quite a bit. This movie was done in 1986, but it only made about, roughly around 8 million at the box. It was just, a run-of-the-mill action flick is what it was. Wasn't anything special about it. Rutger Hauer plays like this bounty hunter. And apparently he used to be, I don't know if it's CIA or NSA or FBI or something. He used to be part of one of them three-lettered government groups. The black guy that used to be his partner or some shit, he tries to help him out. And he wants him to come back to the agency because they need to stop Gene Simmons' character. I forget. He's playing some radical Muslim terrorist or some shit. Iranian or Pakistani. I don't know. One of those Middle Eastern terrorists. But anyways, so Rutger Hauer's character, he reluctantly, I can't even say the word, reluctantly decides to help find him, stop him. Apparently they have a past, and he doesn't know who he is, but Gene Simmons, his character, knows who he is. Anyways, he eventually catches up to him. They try to bomb this one place, and he eventually gets there, and he stops him, and basically kills him. And that's the end of the movie. You do have some guy, I remember his name because I kept saying it. His name is Lipton. He's like the dickhead in charge of like the CIA or a group. Not the entire CIA, but the group that's handling the case. He's in charge, and they have a past too. He's constantly fighting with him. The guy helps get his best friend and his girlfriend killed or whatever. But anyways, that's pretty much the whole movie. He's just going after the Gene Simmons character. It was an okay movie for what it was. It was just a run-of-the-mill action flick. If you're just looking for something to watch and pass the time, it was decent. It was decent enough. I don't give it 2 thumbs up. I get thumbs up and thumbs down because it was just a regular, like I said, run-of-the-mill action flick. Yeah, you have some really decent actors in this and stuff, which really helped. So it made it a decent watch. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one I watched with him in it was called Split Second. It was done in 1992, and it made about 5.5 million at the box. So it didn't do all that well either at the box. His co-star in this was Kim Cattrall. Now, back in the 80s, Kim Cattrall was in quite a number of flicks. She was a good-looking gal, good-looking actress, and she could act. But her career didn't really go off either, which is kind of weird because she was in a lot of 80s flicks. So I don't know why her career didn't go off either. But anyways, in this movie, he's in like a dystopian London. He's in England. Everything's been flooded. You know, the whole climate change bullshit. You know. Anyways, the cities. It's not like underwater or anything like that. It's just like there's just a ton of water. It's been flooded, you know. So, you know, you're about, I'd say, ankle, shin deep in water. Which don't make no sense, but whatever. And that's literally all they explain about the water. So, throughout the movie, he's trying to find a serial killer. This serial killer, at one point in time, had killed his partner. So he wants revenge, and he's trying to find it. Kim Cattrall plays the ex-wife of his partner, which got killed. He ends up, you know, getting with her. So they become lovers. Now, he's reluctantly given a partner who is like a profiler or some bullshit. And at the beginning of the movie, it was like done like a true crime story. They were trying to find the serial killer. He doesn't really like his new partner at first. But then, I would say the last 30 minutes or so of the movie, all of a sudden it flips. The movie flips. You don't really see the serial killer till later on. You just get shadows and images. But then it turns into this like sci-fi horror flick, buddy cop type fucking movie. It's weird how it flips. It's like somebody wrote the first half of the movie and then somebody else wrote the second half of the movie. So now he's after this, I don't know what it is, an alien or some type of weird alien creature being or some shit with long claws and sharp teeth. Almost looks like an alien from the movie Alien, a xenomorph, but not quite. So throughout the rest of the movie, he's chasing this thing. They make Kim Cattrall at the very end. The very end, they make her character like this badass chick or some shit. You know, all of a sudden she knows how to use guns and fight alongside with the boys. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where earlier she wasn't. She was like this, you know, widow princess or some shit. Now all of a sudden she's like this Billy badass at the very end. It was kind of weird. They even gave her shin guards for her outfit. Like, what the fuck? Why does she got shin guards, like these metal plates for her shins? It was retarded. I was like, what the fuck? She literally was, okay, towards the very end, she's hamstring on this fucking rope. She's a victim. She's crying for help. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they get her down, she's like shooting with the boys with the guns and shit. I just, what the fuck, man. Anyways, there's one thing that really irritated me about the movie. The rest of it was okay, but I don't know what the deal is, where the writer was going with this, or the director. But every time there was a crime scene, or he'd come close to, you know, the alien or whatever, it would switch from color. The film would switch from color to black and white. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that? It's super annoying. Like the crime scene when he would discover a dead person or some shit, the whole crime scene would turn black and white. Like they filmed it in black and white, the crime scene. I'm like, why? Why the fuck are you doing that? And then as soon as he was done with the crime scene, he'd go back to color. And I'm like, why the it's annoying. It's fucking annoying. There's a couple scenes where they go into these certain areas, like the morgue scene, where they're looking through all the dead bodies. It's super white. I mean, it is bright white. And the director, the writer goes into this, black and white. They change it to black and white. And it's just so bright, it's hard to see anything in that scene. Like I said, I don't know why they were doing that. It was dumb. But the rest of the movie was fine. I think the whole London and flooded crap was kind of dumb, but other than that, the rest of the movie was alright. I don't think they knew what they were actually trying to go with this movie, story-wise. I mean, when they flipped it to fucking some kind of alien horror flick, I don't know, it was weird. Yeah, towards the end, you know, they're joking with each other, and it turned into kind of like a buddy cop movie too, and it was just like, okay, this is just, it don't make no sense. Anyways, I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. It wasn't like the best of the best movie. It was kind of lame and cheesy, but it was okay for a one-time watch. Check it out if you want. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. I don't ever hear from you guys. Or, you know, if you could think of any underrated, B-rated movies you think I may never even heard of, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you to be told the truth, and you just been told.